My name is Sandra Eric. My maiden name is Bulgaris, and I got to the lycée in sixième. From sixième to seconde, I enjoyed my lycée life, and I was here because my father was a Swiss diplomat. I was moving every 4 years, and my parents made that choice, and they said, we will enroll you in the French system. Although I was Swiss, they could have chosen another system, and they decided on the lycée français, wherever in the world, to have a continuous education. And they knew that I could, you know, go all the way to the baccalaureate easily, regardless of where we would be living. So it's a huge advantage.
My name is Eric Sandra, and I am born of French parents in the United States. I was actually studying in an American school until septième, and at which time my parents decided that it would be important to put me in a French system so that they could prepare for what if they were called back to France as expats here in the United States. After a terminale scientifique, I went off to New York University where I studied mathematics and economics. I went into business after that. I started working in France. I went for 3 years to work in a large CPG company there before coming back for my graduate studies in New York, and then going into the CPG way again. I spent 19 years after that working at Nestle. Nestle obviously has a global footprint, and you can imagine that someone with bilingual capabilities and an international background of sorts very quickly in a company like that ends up going on an international path. And so as a result, we traveled quite a bit, living in Los Angeles, Switzerland, the Dominican Republic, Mexico, back to New York, which is where we live now.
After leaving in seconde, I did my première and my terminale in France, in Paris. But I owe my career choice to Monsieur Harry, who was my drawing and art teacher, because he's the one who encouraged me to follow a career in architecture. He helped me figure it out. I wanted to do something artistic. I was rather good in science, and he was like, you know what, this is really something you should explore. And he even made me do special homework that was aimed towards learning to do some perspective drawings, which the others were not doing. So I owe him, and I'm forever grateful to him for that.
I'll let you tell the story.
You go.
Sandra and I were lucky to be in the same class. While Sandra was here for quite some time in New York, we got a little more involved in her final year in New York. And Sandra went off to France, but we stayed in close touch while I was here in New York, and even during our university years, until we came back together and in fact got married 6 years after graduating from the lycée. And in fact, we have three wonderful children who are also three students. Well, one is an alumni now from the Lycée Français de New York as well, and two are currently students at the Lycée Français. An education like you get at the Lycée Français really opens your mind in terms of, culturally, language-wise, and so on, in ways that is hard to imagine in other establishments.